All right, we got Denny back again. We saw him on the day before the show. We caught up. It was the first time meeting him in person, so it's like we're old friends. So, it wasn't awkward at all until we,
Until you just said it was just now.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. But it's day 2 of Fanatics Fest, so we've been here for the last almost 48 hours, and
yes.
Yeah, and I just want to get your perspective on Fanatics Fest. Like, what do you think of it? And highlights, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So my thoughts are as a member of the public, not as a dealer. Mm-hmm. So I'm not doing any of that. Not a press like you guys. Not doing anything where I'm doing transactional stuff, other than like maybe trying to sell or trade some of my slabs to vendors. The hobby area is kind of like away. It's kind of like tucked away in the corner, like the upper right quadrant.
Yep.
But it is active, it's lively, people are having a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of kids, a lot of families. Mm-hmm. Friday, I know it's summer and there's a school didn't start in Jersey and New York yet, but there were a lot of families. It was a Friday, and then today, Saturday, it's even busier.
Yeah,
I think this is, I don't know what an A+ would look like, but a lot of people I've talked to, it's like A-, they're loving it.
That's good.
I have heard word on the street is the vendors, they're not too happy. One, because they're kind of put on the side and they're not getting as much traffic as they want. Mm-hmm. But I think they also brought a lot of like higher end cards because they thought, it's going to be higher end clientele. But I think I've heard from a lot of vendors, the cards that are moving are the ones that are like more affordable or more understandable. Because these kids or the adults, who are new to the hobby, they don't understand that if you buy a $300 card, you could maybe sell it for something else. They just want to keep it. So then in their head, they're like, oh my gosh, this is like a week of groceries.
$300 is a lot of money.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
So they don't see it as, well, this represents a dollar value amount that I could later do.
Yeah.
But I would say that the dealers are kind of like not too happy. I don't know if it's like I would say maybe for them, and I don't speak for them at all, and I would love to hear what they have to say directly on a podcast, but they're probably at like a CC+.
Yeah, I guess it depends who you talk to, because we just had Daryl on, and he's generally pleased, but it is different than the national, of course, right? Instead of asking about that comparison, because I know you've been to the national too, but you just came from the East Coast National this morning, so compare that show, which is much smaller, I'm sure, than to Fanatics Fest, even like local shows versus Fanatics
so
Fest.
300 plus tables. I paid $15 to get in, and it was very much a traditional card show.
Yeah,
a lot of BCW, like not a sponsor, but a lot of the white boxes, a lot of binders, a lot of vintage. And a lot more dealers. There were some who were like, no, I'm not here to do any trades. I don't even want to look at what you have.
Really?
They were just like, I just want to sell. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And so I did make some deals. There were some people who were newer and younger and just kind of like willing to negotiate. And I do find the dealers at like smaller shows to just maybe sometimes be a little bit more inflexible. And it's hard to, that even if you're not going to buy the cards, just saying you're willing to look at it gives that reason to talk to someone.
Right.
Communication is so important. Customer service.
Agreed.
So I think some of the dealers who are more set in their quote unquote set in their ways, they might be losing out on some opportunities. But they like what they like and they just want to do what they do, and that's totally fine. More power to them. But I thought it was a nice show. It was in Westchester. The only reason I really went up is because I was already there. I was north of that show. Right. But I'm glad that I got to go and say that I went to the East Coast National. Yeah. But Fanatics Fest is maybe more of my kind of like vibe.
Yeah. You said there was 300 plus tables, so there's about 300 plus tables here at Fanatics Fest. Do you think the size is comparable from the East Coast National to the hobby portion of Fanatics Fest?
So they did have like autograph guests, kind of like on like a raised platform stage.
Okay.
And so, the Westchester County Center is, I don't know, like they almost had like auditorium seating, like balcony seating up top. I think they maybe even do like some sort of like, I don't know if it's like the Westchester Knicks, like I don't know if they have like sporting events in there, but it's pretty. It's like it's big, and then it's hard to say because I think we all know that when it comes to like your depth perception. If you have like really high ceilings, it can seem really big.
Right.
So I mean, we're in the Javits, and it's huge. It's like it's a huge convention center. So the ceilings are bigger, higher, and it is just it has a bigger feel to it.
Fair point.
I would actually agree with Denny. From what I've seen, is that I could see the vendors not being happy just because. I would say yesterday was a little slower on the card side. Compared to today is pretty busy, so you're seeing a lot more. But that's exactly it. I think it's the generic public that's coming in that is not in this space, and $300 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I think the expectations of, because from our standpoint, Fanatics is they just bought Pops. So they're like supposedly the hobby like guys, but in reality, Fanatics is way bigger than just the hobby. That's just one portion of their brand, and this is Fanatics Fest. It's not necessarily Pops Fest.
Right.
Right?
Good point.
So I think the expectation is there, and I like the feedback because I think there needs to be a lot of improvement on the cards. I told you this, Clark. That
Sure.
I wish somebody would now project manage and take all the feedback they got from the dealers and now focus on making the hobby section way better, right? And there's so much potential for it. It's just a matter of if they do take that time to say, you know what, we're going to make improvements and take the feedback we get from people that experienced it. So I agree. I would rate that the hobby side of things like a C or a B, but overall like A- in terms of Fanatics. They could do things a little better or more efficient, but it's their first show, so there's something there. Yeah,
I think the big test is going to be November.
I was going to say that.
In Orlando.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you introduced us to EJ, who is helped big time organize this show. So I'm sure
I
he'll
like to bring people together. I really do.
Denny really does that well.
I think
And
that's what.
you know what? This is why Denny's late to everything, right?
Yeah,
because we're like, Denny, where are you? We're supposed to record or we're supposed to meet. Let's talk. And then Denny just, like even right now, I was looking for Denny. He just stopped and talking to two other guys.
Ryan from GemRate, just introducing you. Hey.
And putting people together, just like he was saying. Yeah, so we appreciate.
I was hyping up the podcast. You're really well. You have a big listener base, and they're loyal, and they like you guys. I've said it before when you and I had the joint podcast, but I get more positive feedback from being on your podcast than other people's podcasts.
Wow, appreciate hearing that. Yeah.
So, but one thing I did want to say about the tables. Yeah. So, as someone who's set up in local small shows in my Northern Virginia area, there is a difference between 6 foot by 3 foot tables and 8 foot by 3 foot tables. Right, 2 extra feet. I didn't go to the East Coast National and bring out the protractor and the ruler, measuring tape, and go, hey, what is this? But I also know that you also have aisle length. That aisle stuff, I don't know how it works. I don't know how many feet.
Right.
But national, the aisles are very wide.
Yes.
And small shows are very narrow. And then for the East Coast National, I would say it's probably in between the two. But I did have some people bump into the big back that I have. And, excuse me, sorry, coming through, that type of stuff. So you can have the same number of tables, but the square footage can be different.
Right. Good point. Yeah.
That would definitely change the feel and dynamics of intimate versus kind of like too much space. Fanatics is like almost like too much space in the hobby where it feels empty, but there's actually a lot of people.
Right.
No, I prefer that. I had to go, we're on one end of the show here at FanFest. I had to go washroom really bad, and it's on the other side of the wall.
So far to walk in.
Yeah, it's other side. But then the aisles were not crowded, like you were saying, Denny. So I got there, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So appreciate that FanFest and the aisle numbering. I think that was one of the complaints at the National.
Yes.
You don't know where you
The
are.
rows were crooked, and you don't know which way to go. So it's nice to say, hey, look up, 2,400, 2,500.
Do you want to tell the story about what happened with me with that, though?
You tell it.
So Clark's telling me he's in aisle 2,400, and I'm looking up, and the only thing I see are banners all across each aisle saying Fanatics, the Fanatics Fest logo.
Right.
The F. So I'm looking up, I'm like, Clark, what are you talking about? I don't know where 2,400. I'm looking up, and I'm like, where are these banners? The banner, you can see the aisle number if you are adjacent or catty corner to my vantage point. So the aisle numbers, you can only see it from say east and west. You couldn't see it north and south.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So I'm like, what is Clark talking about? What's aisle numbers?
That's true.
Should have been more clear, but I thought we could end off the segment with Denny.
Yeah.
But,
no more quizzes.
Top 5 Canadians.
No.
If you missed that episode, we'll link it in the show notes
gosh,
below.
yeah.
But no, you've experienced, like we said, 2 days of Fanatics Fest. How would you rate it? Just from your own experience, have you enjoyed it, or do you think this could be vastly improved?
Having an absolute blast. No one's paying me to say it. No one's influencing me. I do get influenced by other people, very much so, but I am having such a good time, and maybe it is because I missed the national,
right?
So I get to see everyone that I didn't see. It's almost like summer, going back to school or something. Like you see the friends, or hey, I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm having an absolute blast. For me, it's an A because it's. I just love doing this. Meeting you guys for the first time.
Yeah, for sure.
And just having a great time with everyone, finding some awesome cards. I went to a high-end trade night at Bleecker. Made a trade with Jeff Wilson,
Nice.
Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Just been making deals here and there, and just trying to find cooler and better cards than what I started 2 years ago when I came back into the hobby.
Yes. Yeah. No, appreciate that, Denny. And I'll close off with saying this: we're all content creators within the hobby space. It's like a content creator's dream. There's so much to see and do.
We do everything here.
Got to make room on your phone because you're just shooting everything.
That's true.
So it's yeah.
I had to delete all my family pictures and videos, and pictures of my dog, pictures of just everything that's not the hobby.
Yeah. My kids will have future birthdays. It's all good.
Yeah, still have future birthdays.
All right. Thanks, Denny.
Yes.